Well, I'm here today with Oscar Feldenkreis, who's a fellow I met back in December. Spoke on a panel together at an event put on by Solomon Partners at a wonderful restaurant in Miami Beach, in Miami. We were there in conjunction with Art Basel, and I just thought, Oscar, your story was a really special story. Here you
Thank you.
were, folks who your parents immigrated from Cuba in 1961. And I think that emigration story, and of course, it's very much topical today, once again, because of things that are going on in the Caribbean, very timely. But I wonder, having that as such an important piece of your background, how that affects how you look at what you define as success, and how that's impacted your approach to business and family and how you balance those things.
First of all, Jim, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. And it's a great privilege, and it was also an honor to meet you. And I was also very impressed with your story, and how you started your company. And congratulations on what you and your family have accomplished. It's a testament to this great country that we live in today, and the importance of America and entrepreneurship, and well, so much that we can do here.
That's so true, Oscar. As we get to travel to other parts of the world and get other exposures and experiences, there's not another place like it.
You know, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. So, talking about my story, I consider myself an American, a Hispanic American. I'm very proud to be Hispanic. I'm very proud to be still Cuban American. And I look forward to one day, even though I visited in 2011 and 2017, to be able to see Cuba as a free country. And as you mentioned, it's in the world that we live in today, with what we recently saw with Venezuela, and the president talking to, or our administration talking to Cuba currently, or pushing them to step down and create freedom or democracy in the country, is going to be very exciting if that ever comes to fruition within my lifetime.
Do you think the arrest of Maduro and his wife, I thought very smart on this administration's part, was to not overthrow the government but try and work with a government in place. We seem to learn that bad lesson back in Iraq. Do you think there's a possibility that something could happen imminently or approximately in Cuba?
Well, they don't have too many options, because at the end of the day, once they lose funding from Venezuela, and Bolivia has converted out of socialism, and they have more of a democratic leadership today, and more and more of, even in Honduras, where you've seen the Save movement.
San Salvador too. El
Yeah,
Salvador.
yeah, I don't see how they can survive. I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday who informed me that things in Cuba are miserable. They only get light electricity, I think, once every 2 weeks.
Wow.
There's no gas, so it's very difficult to live and cook, even with the conditions are horrible. So I don't see how the island or the people can survive without, somehow or another, the them giving up their power, and let them go to Russia or wherever they deem that would give them some form of
Sanctuary.
sanctuary to stay there. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel it could. Where this has been the closest, let's put it that way, that we can be at. Didn't have. They wanted to not that they didn't have, but they wanted to figure out how do they talk to the Hispanic consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So we used the guayabera as a way to go to a retailer and say, hey, listen, you got to carry this product because the Hispanic consumer, like you mentioned, South Florida, New Jersey, and Union City, and some parts of Chicago, try it. And we started, engaging with these retailers, and it was very successful. And we started, selling them product. Short sleeves, long sleeve, different color, size packs, etc. And then, Texas, as there was more Mexicans coming through the border and living in the border towns of Laredo, Brownsville, Harlingen, El Paso, it became a popular item as well for that part of the country. And that's how really we started. That was our first foothold of product into the Hispanic, very focused on the Hispanic community, which at that time was a small minority. But today, the Hispanic population continues to grow in the United States. And I think that I hear the statistics that probably, I think by 2030, would be probably the majority versus the minority side of the population.
Well, it seems to me that Miami is the capital of Latin and South America.
That is true, sir.
Yeah, it's got such energy, and now attracting all the financial services firms. Miami's been on a roll for a long time. Treat your sweetheart this Valentine's to gourmet gifts from Harry and David. Dazzle them with premium wines, rich chocolates, dreamy desserts, and all the tasty goodies they love most. As you look back, how good a decision was that to change the name of the company to a prominent brand?
It was very important because to build, most people don't know who Supreme International was.
Yep.
Most people didn't know, Original Penguin, who it was, Manhattan, or any other brand that we had within our portfolio at that time.
But these are all brands that were familiar to me as a kid growing up in Queens.
Well, no, they were familiar to me, but I felt that Perry Ellis was a much more prestigious brand.
Indeed it is.
The ones that I had mentioned before. So changing the name to Perry Ellis became much more respectful, luxury or premium, and people, globally would know who Perry Ellis is, whoever was in the fashion, let's say, apparel business.
And at some point you decided it wasn't appropriate to be public anymore.
We had an activist in our stock in 2015, and we won that battle. The only challenge when we won that battle, I think it was year 2 or year 3, one of the requirements was that we needed to have a staggered board, and we had to exit the board members that we had on the origination since 1993 or whatever it was, that they were with us. And in those days, all these rating companies tell you that you can't have a board member that's been with you for 20 years. That, you got to change them every 5 years. The problem that I have with, now that I'm private, so I can say anything I want, I think it's a big mistake for people in the rating companies to dictate the rules of a board member, because the biggest value that a board member can give you is knowledge of your business. And
sometimes history too.
And the history. So, a board member sits on a board that you meet 4 times a year. You might meet 5. And most of them are not local, so they have to fly in from wherever.
So 2-3 years in, they're up to speed, and then they're headed for the exit.
That's correct.
We talk a lot here about technology, and technology is changing everything at 1-800-Flowers in every possible imaginable way. How is technology changing the apparel industry?
Well, it's changing a lot. I mean, as we know, all we do is read about AI. I mean, every single day you wake up in the morning, there's like 10 articles on Wall Street Journal about AI, Ad Age, and, everywhere you go around, there's technology. But definitely Look, at the end of the day, the world that we live in today is a much faster pace environment. And we've seen, what the new Magnificent Seven companies have accomplished in the last 10 years, let's say, has been unbelievable. Whoever knew what Google was 20 years ago? Who knew what Facebook was 15 years ago? AI didn't exist 3 years ago. And today, do you really, how much of AI actually is going to impact your business and being able to make decisions quicker, faster,
More informed?
and cut, excuse me?
More informed?
More informed than what we were before. And I think that if companies don't adapt to that, it's going to be very, very difficult for a company to be able to grow, because AI today does marketing. AI today can read a document faster. AI can give you, if I wanted to sell a brand and I just put in a P&L and ask all the numbers and tells me, hey, how much is a company worth today, rather than why do I need to hire an investment banker, except if then you got to pay them, I don't know, 20%, 15% to do the deal. Of course, if you don't know anybody where to go to sell the company, it would be a difficult situation. But today, the power of AI, we're using it throughout our company across the board.
Are you using it in design, manufacturing, planning, all of the above?
All of the above.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money recently, for the last 18 months, on installing a brand new planning software system, which has AI capabilities.
So you have a design, the prototypes, manufacturing, logistics, materials you'll need for the manufacturing, assortments. Wow, I can see, of course, every one of those stops where it can make a big difference. Yeah.
Everything. And being able to make decisions, when we ship goods to a consumer on, in the past, you had one shipper or two shipping companies. You used either FedEx or you used UPS or maybe you used DHL.
Yep.
Today you have a plethora. You have DoorDash, you have this, you have that.
Sure.
That's able to deliver product to a consumer within hours reach, or maybe 8 hours or 5 hours, whatever it is.
You mentioned something before that struck me, which was the dot-com boom, and you said, wow, it had a big impact on fashion, which ergo on the apparel industry. You're right. As I think back, it's when Silicon Valley really came to its prominence there in the late 90s. They changed fashion. It was the khakis and the open shirts and casual shoes, and that's when menswear really changed.
Yeah, it was everybody. That's when Gap started coming out with the khaki campaign.
Sure.
And that's what put khakis on the map. And I think Dockers was born almost at the same time, the brand Dockers from Levi's.
Yep.
And little by little, casualization became the new norm of going to dress.
It's funny how a big-time events like that would have an unanticipated impact on fashion, because they were all Silicon Valley and in the Bay Area in California, beautiful weather, different cultural environment. I didn't realize until you mentioned it how that earthquake changed the men's fashion for the next generation or two now. And now,
Sure.
Recently, my wife was making fun of me. I put on a pair of khakis I hadn't worn probably in 10 years. She goes, looks like you could sail a boat with those. men's fashion has changed again.
It's true. Fashion is a cycle, goes up and down and changes on a continuous basis. That's why, every year you have to be very innovative and coming out with newness, because if not, you stay complacent and you don't grow. And in our industry, it's all about innovation.
It's funny, being in Europe last week at the World Economic Forum, as I mentioned to you earlier, ties were back. Everybody was wearing a coat and tie. I was surprised. Of course, quarter zips were under every jacket, But it was the first place I've been in a while where everyone was wearing a tie again. It was interesting. But also, when I talk about technology and your world, the world of apparel and fashion, the materials itself, the shoes are so different now. If you go skiing, you're so much more comfortable because the technology of the boots and the gloves and the hats and the coats and the pants are so much better technologically now than they were a generation ago. So it's not only in terms of how you produce it, but what you produce itself is which has been impacted by technology. The fabrics are different. The fabrics in my slacks are very different than they were years ago.
Oh yeah, and performance fabrics today is what really has been driving a lot of the innovation, where people don't have to they have to wash it, but they don't have to iron their garments as often as they have in the past. 3D has also been, innovative, very le- much more easier to make presentation, much
Mm-hmm.
more easier to make samples through 3D. We were very early on 3D. If we didn't have 3D during COVID, it would be very difficult for us to even make presentations to customers. So we were able to invest in 3D very, very early on. We did our line reviews on 3Ds, which gave you the 360 capabilities. And that's what we were using to put on the internet to sell product, because you couldn't do photo shoots in 2020 until
Mm-hmm.
2021.
Kick off the year with wellness goals you'll actually enjoy, like eating more seafood and cooking at home. You'll love the fresh caught flavor and effortless ease of our recipe kits, entrees, and time-saving dinners.
Tell me, Oscar, one of the things that I was impressed as I got to know you is how serious you take philanthropy. Can you tell me how you think about the things that you put your energies and your resources behind, how you make those decisions, and how does that mix with your company's vision? So what's your approach to philanthropy, and how does it reflect itself in your business?
Philanthropy is threaded in our DNA of our family. Started out with my father. Was very he always taught us that success comes with helping others, and when you give it, you have to give till it hurts,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes more than what you can.
I
Or more
assume
than,
your father emigrated to Cuba from Eastern Europe based on the name?
no, he was born in Cuba.
He was
My grandparents immigrated from Eastern Europe in the 30s
in the
before the
30s.
war.
Yeah.
And then they left again 1961 to Miami. So
Uh-huh.
they basically were uprooted twice in their lifetime. But my father always taught me and my sister, and everybody that was associated with the family, the importance of giving back. So we're very fortunate to be able to give back and support local hospitals. I sit on the Jack Nicholas Children's Hospital here locally.
Mm-hmm.
We support that. We support the Baptist Hospital here, Mount Sinai. And being Jewish, we support many Jewish organizations, from the IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Forces in Israel. We raise money for Israel bonds. And as well, my father was honored by the Christian Jewish organization. I was just honored by delivering goods in New York. So we're very, we participate every single year with them. I'm on the board of the American Apparel Footwear Association, which has a scholarship gala every year. I sit on the board of the retail school at Wharton, the
Oh.
Baker Retail School. So, philanthropy for us, just to mention a few, is embedded, and it's an important for us to give back whenever we can give back, and every single year.
Shifting gears a little bit here, your business is driven by young people. How do you keep your thumb on the pulse of what's new and interesting and what young people are interested in?
Well, I have 3 daughters and 9 grandchildren, and then I have friends of friends that have grandchildren
So
and
you have
children.
built-in focus groups.
I have my own built-in focus groups, and they're always helping me with whatever needs I have. So, I spend a lot of time in shopping centers and just sitting there looking at the people walking around, what they're wearing. And I was at a golf show last week and having dinner with a retailer. And I tell them, well, I think you should carry vests are becoming very popular now. And I would carry a vest all year round. And of course, everybody at the table and throughout the restaurant, we're all wearing vests under a quarter zip, over a quarter zip sweater or knit or whatever. So watching what people wear is extremely important because that's the reality. That's not a trend or anything like that. That's how you see it.
And what golf brands do you have in your portfolio?
Right now we have Callaway. We have PGA Tour. We also do Original Penguin.
Yep.
We all do Ben Hogan and Jack Nicklaus. And then we do private label for Dillard's as well as Belk stores.
Tell me, from a point of view of legacy, you unfortunately lost your dad last year. But now, how do you think about your legacy? What is it you want? You want people in your business community to think about what you're doing and how you run your business.
Listen, for me, Jim, is trying to follow my father's legacy and the opportunity that I had and blessed opportunity, fortunate to work side by side with my father, who I would consider, besides my father, my mentor, my hero, my best friend. And, many people thought of us as one, not as two, to continue in the legacy and the teachings that he taught us, rolling up your sleeve, being scrappy, humble is extremely important in our family. And you have to be extremely, humble, integrity, passionate. Those are words that describe our family and describe me specifically, because those were words that my father would constantly use. And working hard. My father taught me if you work only 40 hours a week, you're going to be as good as your competitor. If you work 60 hours a week, you're going to be better than your competitor.
Mm-hmm.
And which is true. So I still follow that philosophy, and my legacy is just to continue building on what he taught me and making this company bigger and better, more efficient, with the tools that we discussed prior, such as the technology that's out there.
A last question I'll ask you is, young persons in college now, they're hearing all about AI and they're not really learning that much about it. And they thinking about careers, and I had a friend who heard about this company called Perry Ellis, and they say, well, maybe the apparel industry. Is that a good place for a young person to think to go?
When Jay Baker, one of the founders of Kohl's, built the retail school, the Baker Retail School at Wharton,
mm-hmm.
We had to educate the students that it's great to go work for consulting companies as an analyst, or, and, they burn you 15 hours a day, sometimes even longer than that. They get burnt out really, really quick. They pay you a lot of money in the beginning.
And you learn a lot.
Huh?
And they learn a lot.
And they learn a lot. But the reality is that in many cases, money is important, but I think education and learning within a business is just as rewarding within not as short a time, but a little bit longer in time. You will get rewarded as much as you work for any of the consulting companies.
Mm-hmm.
And consultants pay a lot more money, and we had to educate them. But then we showed them when somebody, you look at Skechers, the family just sold the business for $9.5 billion. I mean, that's an incredible story. That's a family that had LA Gear. They went bankrupt with LA Gear, and then they started this brand, I don't know, in the sneaker world, probably top 5 brand in terms of market share, and they sold it for $9.5 billion. Going back to our original discussion of how we live in the greatest country in the world and why we should cherish it.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. $9.5 billion is a pretty good way to put an exclamation point on a career. I think you're well on your way to doing that, Oscar. I think you have lots of lessons for us all in terms of how to approach business, think about capital structures, think about family involvement, and I'm so happy things worked out so well for you and your family. I suspect we'll be seeing a lot of successes from the Felding-Kreis family and Perry Ellis brand and all your family of brands in the years ahead. And we're thrilled here at the Flowers Companies to be working with you on some different programs that are coming up.
For Valentine's Day, we're very, very excited. Hopefully that's only the beginning of many, many, many more, Jim.
I suspect it will be, Oscar. Thanks so much for spending time with me.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and hope to see you soon. And good luck with the snow up there, okay?
Thanks, buddy.